I think when it comes to the question of praise, it's not really a question of whether praise is a good thing or not. It's a question of what sort of praise that you give children. Typically, when we praise children, we often don't think about it very much, but what we should focus on is praising their effort or the things that they can actually have control of. What I would say for parents as a sort of a benchmark or rule is to avoid saying things like, "Oh, you're very clever," or "you're very beautiful," or these things that we internalize as innate characteristics. In terms of things that you might say, is focusing on the things that they did and how they did it, and the effort they might have exerted. So if your child is playing soccer, for example, or football, as I like to call it, then you might be focusing on the skill set and the things they actually did when they were playing a game rather than the outcome of the game. And rather than the outcome, if they scored a goal, sure, somebody might think they're a champion, but talk about the things that they did well to score that goal. Talk about the things that they did to actually get to a position to score that goal rather than the outcome. The evidence of good praise suggests that what it really does for all individuals is it helps build resilience. It helps build this sense of that I can achieve things even when the chips are against me. It helps build a sense of a psychological makeup that says, look, sometimes things aren't going to go my way, but some of that's in my control. The problem with using praise as a method for building self-esteem is that when you do so, you're creating a bubble around a child, and you're focusing so much on them not being harmed that it doesn't allow them to build the very facets of their psychological makeup that they're going to need in the world. Because the world outside of the home is not the cool, calm, collective place that it might be, and where they get this sort of bubble built around them about how great they are and how clever they are and everything else. Because when they do step out in the world and they do make mistakes, and we're all human, we do make mistakes, then the critique they get is something that they might not be able to cope with very well. I'm a parent, and I've got a couple of beautiful kids, but parenting is hard work. We've come through a whole sort of self-esteem mantra over the last couple of decades. This notion that somehow you had to mollycoddle children, or you had to protect them all the time. In fact, the evidence around self-esteem and around personal beliefs is that in doing that, you actually make them more fragile than they actually should be. And so you're better off giving them feedback, which is honest, but not disrespectful. So it's perfectly all right to say to a child that your team didn't play very well, or the other team played better than you, which is why you didn't win, rather than saying, oh, good job, everybody played well and everyone should get a participation award, which is antithetical to actually healthy psychological development. What children actually crave as much as praise, or more so than praise, is feedback, honest, respectful feedback, and they'll respond well to it. But you have to do that in the early stages. You can't suddenly be heaping lavish praise on kids about how great they are and everything else, and then suddenly when they turn 13 or 14, you start offering honest feedback, because that's a disjoint for them. So focus on, as much as possible, focus on acknowledging the effort or the things that a child can control, more so than you might sort of any innate characteristics. So if on one hand you say, oh, you're a clever young man, or you're a clever boy, then try to buffer that with actually acknowledging why you think they're clever, what it is that they did that actually manifests as that. I say to parents, don't beat yourself up, but maybe take some time, concerted effort, to think about how you can praise effort and how you can praise process over outcome.